week's episode of Dragon Ball Super is one of those episodes that manages to really excite me with its creativity, but also completely infuriate me with some of its choices. And a lot of that anger actually just comes from being a fan of some of these characters. Spoiler warning if you've not seen this week's episode, but the character of Tien, one of my favorite side characters from Dragon Ball, a character who started out as a villain, defeated Goku in the very first tournament, and then finally had his ass smashed by him in the next, was relegated to being a side character of the series, which in the Dragon Ball world is kind of a bad thing, as there's almost no way to claw your way back up to the top. Yamcha is the perfect example of this, and I never wanted to see Tien go down that route, and he certainly doesn't even after this episode. But damn it, I wanted to see an episode devoted wholly to the character of Tien. I wanted him to have his big epic moment in the sun, and he did some really great stuff in this episode. Hell, we even got to see the return of his classic clone technique, which he used to great effect in this episode. We even got to see the frickin' Tri-Beam, the Kikoha, whatever you want to fucking call it. It's awesome. It's classic Tien. But, man, he was defeated in this episode in a way that just really pisses me off. So let's just jump into the rest of the episode. And let me stress again that while it does make me angry, I don't think that this was a bad episode. In fact, I really loved this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the opponents that they were going up against this week were really unique. There were these two fighters from Universe 2. The first one, his name is Prüm, and the other one's name is Fermilla. And Prüm basically just looks like this giant pink blob, and his unique ability is that he's able to absorb ki blasts and also send them back at people, kind of like a reflective mirror. He also has the ability to freaking puke up these giant orbs, which he can use to spy on his opponents, as well as actually use those as reflectors to shoot ki blasts off. And he can do this by setting them up all over the place like a freaking minefield, and if you get caught in it, there's a damn good chance that you're going to get hit by this massive concentrated blast of ki. And what's really unique is that he's not actually the one who's using the ki blasts. In fact, I don't even think he has the ability to do that, but it's actually his other partner from Universe 2, Fermilla, who is firing at him from afar like a sniper, allowing him to power up, take the attack, and hit his opponents without them actually ever finding the sniper. It's a really unique combination, and it definitely puts Piccolo and Gohan on the edge. Piccolo gets straight up so destroyed in this episode that it's crazy. He loses, like, his arm, I think 3 times in this episode. A couple times when he's trying to protect Gohan, which might be sort of a veiled homage to him saving him when he was a kid, where he gets his arm just completely severed and blasted off and there's blood all over the place, and then he has to grow it back. There's a scene where both of his arms are just gone and he's just, like, standing there and bleeding out, and he's using up all of his power and stamina just to get his arms back. Even Goku and Vegeta get involved in this battle, but they don't really do anything. In fact, they mostly just sort of hang out on the sidelines. It's really Tien who ends up becoming like the big star of this episode when he's the one who decides to go after Fermilla, who's the actual sniper using the ki blasts. And he does that by creating his clone techniques and basically using them as human shields before he can get really up close to this guy and take him out with one blast. And at first it seemed like he was going to be completely victorious against this guy. Like, no problem. He beat him. This dude was on his knees. Tien walked up to him looking super badass. He could have just, like, punched him or kicked him, like, right over the edge. And instead, he decided to monologue. And this gave the villain the perfect opportunity to use his reserved powers to blast the ground beneath them, which set both of them flying down into the abyss because they were right at the edge of the arena. And this is the part where I was like, okay, this episode officially sucks. Like, I was ready to hate the episode. I was so angry at Tien actually losing this way. But at least he went out like a boss. He decided to create a couple more clones. He grabbed onto this fighter and drug him down with him. So at least he took a fighter with him. But damn it, Tien deserves more than this. He deserves so much more. He is such an interesting character with unique fighting styles that no other character can use in the series, and they could have really built upon that in this arc right here. And to me, it feels like they just wasted their time. I just wanted so much more from Tien. He's such a great character. and to see him go out is a shame. And man, I never would have imagined that Roshi would stick around a lot longer than Krillin and Tien. I honestly thought maybe he was going to be one of the first ones to go. So if there's one thing that this arc is teaching me, it's just expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when your favorite characters are going to get snuffed out. And as for the character of Prune, well, of course, he predictably gets completely destroyed. Goku and Vegeta throughout most of the episode are picking up rocks and just chucking them at him and having a really good time, and it seems really sadistic and kind of messed up. But there's another running gag in the episode with the character of Dr. Rota, who's quite literally a boar who wears a little black jacket and has a mohawk, and he calls himself Dr. Rota because of some sort of ability that involves him being a doctor. They never get into it. Every single time he's about to attack, he gets interrupted by someone and just gets made a fool of, and towards the very end of the episode, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to come back and he's going to take out Prune in like the blaze of glory, but Vegeta just ends up taking out both of them, so they were actually able to get rid of like 3 different opponents in this episode in such a ridiculous fashion. It's clear that Dr. Rota is a joke character, and it's going to be fun hearing what people have to say, like what his powers are actually going to be. The fact that he is a doctor, though, like I really want to see what he could have done. He seemed like such an interesting character, and he was one of those like wild card characters from Universe 6. Like when they showed him for the very first time, I'm like, who the hell is the Warthog dude? What's his abilities going to be? Like, is he going to have, like, doctor tools? Is he allowed to even do that? Is he going to create, like, those implements out of ki? Is he going to, like, do something that involves, like, invading the person's circulatory system and messing with all the things that are inside of their body? Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know what the creepy little Dr. Warthog is going to do, and unfortunately, like a lot of the characters in this arc, he has simply been turned into just a funny, goofy side character, as the other characters are whittled down and we get closer to see who's going to be the final contestants in the Tournament of Power. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? Just chaos. Pure and utter delicious chaos. This was an episode that was pretty unique, actually, in many regards. Like, I did love watching Gohan and Piccolo work together and, like, try to find out who this sniper was. I liked that they were coming up with unique strategies, like Piccolo throwing out rubble and then blasting it with Ki Blast to create a smoke screen. But unfortunately, that didn't really result in much, and like it made it seem like it was going to be a very Gohan and Piccolo-centric episode in the first half. And by the end, Tien sort of like ended up sort of usurping the entire episode and taking it for his own. And that got me really excited at first, because I'm like, oh shit, Tien's finally about to do something awesome. This is what I've been waiting for. His signature fighting style is going to come back. And yes, we did get to see some classic techniques, but I felt that he was just snuffed too early. The actual opponents that they were going up against, I also thought were really cool and unique. Like, when I first saw Prune, I was like, okay, the design's kind of sucky, but the overall gimmick of his character being able to absorb those abilities and a lot of big attacks makes him unique, and the fact that he can, like, puke up freaking orbs and, like, reflect them off in different areas made it really dangerous for a lot of these characters to even move, as these Ki Blasts were coming from practically every single direction, like just perfect pinpointing lasers, and the fact that he could see through them, that's unique. And for Milla himself, he's basically an alien who can shoot shit from his wrists. That's all there really is to that character. He's just this weird, freaky green alien with like massive orange locks and a weird beak-like face, but he can shoot these weird key things from these gauntlets that he has on his wrists, but he's able to do it from a really far point away, and just like the special beam cannon that's used by Piccolo, it's like a pure concentrated Ki Blast, so it's something that you don't want to get hit by. It won't necessarily kill you, but man, it will knock the wind out of you to the point where you could get knocked out and just be simply thrown out of the tournament. It's a pretty unique strategy, and I hope to see more like that in the upcoming episodes of the series. And now that means we have 2 fighters who are gone from Universe 7. Only 8 remain, but they certainly are the cream of the veritable crop of the Dragon Ball universe, so I can't wait to see them in action. That and the fact that we have a big 1-hour special that's coming up in a month. I know you guys have already seen that preview about Goku's new form. If you don't want to see it, don't watch it. Be surprised when you see it in the anime, but if you want to check out the preview, it's out there. Check it out. It's pretty damn cool. What I will say is, this episode right here was good despite the fact that one of my favorite characters was snuffed out, and I have a very similar feeling to that of when I saw Krillin's defeat, but still it was a satisfying episode. Regardless, Roshi is still going to be sticking around, and we got to see the characters working together and seeing some unique strategies, so pretty fun episode. The next one looks like it's also going to be nuts. It looks like Roshi's going to be fighting Frost, which I hope he's ready, because I had no idea Roshi's been training this much, and if he has, man, he's been doing a really secretly and not telling anyone about it, because he has gotten way stronger, and honestly, I can't wait to see what he's going to do. It looked like in the preview that he was actually using the Mafuba on Frost, and if he actually ends up like trapping him that way, I don't know if that's a good thing or if it's actually going to be disappointing, because I was really anxious to see if Frieza and Frost were going to do something to kind of mix up this entire arc and maybe sort of like try to take over it or something. Like, there could be still so many other twists which are coming, not to mention the build-up between the battle between Goku and Jiren, which they do again at the end of this episode, but we'll just have to wait and see what that's about. I'm not going to judge that till I see it. What I will say is, this episode was good. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Dragon Ball Super fans. If any of you did watch the episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. What did you think of the sniper enemies in this episode? Did you like their unique gimmick? Did you like Gohan and Piccolo teaming up? What did you think of Tien's big moment in this episode? Were you disappointed that he was defeated? And what do you hope to see from the rest of the Tournament of Power? Thank you all again for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Dragon Ball Super related. Make sure to share this video with all of your friends and make sure to give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.